us, give us the wisdom that we need. We ask all this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Now call this meeting to order, the Port St. Joe City Commission. All right. Consent agendas. Regular commission meeting on 7/18/17, and then we had a workshop meeting on 7/18/17 also.
You
Need a
want to,
motion to approve?
so moved?
So moved by Commissioner Thursby.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Lowry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Port St. Joe's redevelopment agency update. You gonna give us an update, Mr. Chairman?
Well, the main update we have is the Gateway Arch that we'll be putting up on 4th Street, 98, in about 3 weeks. We'll let the concrete cure and be ready for that, because it will take a lot of stress, so we need to be ready for that. But that's the main thing. We continue the work on the Eglin House down in George Court Park. We're just about to complete that, and it's looking nice. A few other, housekeeping chores we have to do to fine tune that, but for the most part, those are the highlights there.
All right. Okay, Mr. City Attorney, I have a question for you before you get started.
Sure, Mayor.
How was your time down at your meeting you went to? You have a good time?
I had a good time, but I learned a lot as well.
Learned a lot?
Good.
Very,
Very
numerous,
beneficial?
very beneficial, numerous issues that we're gonna be facing. And also, the best part of it is meeting a lot of different people who specialize. Bigger towns,
Sure.
they have like more than one attorney, and they have different departments, so they become specialized. So I met a lot of different people that have specialization in the different issues that we're dealing with. So had a lot of good contacts.
Great.
That's worked a
Good,
lot.
good.
Making contact.
As
And
many of you
that-
may know, our attorney is kind of new to city government, so we sent him down to some training, and sounds like he got a good bit of training.
I
He's
did.
ready to go now.
Oh, boy, am I ready to go.
All right, I'm gonna turn it over to you.
All right, Mayor, the first thing that I have on the agenda, or the only thing I have on the agenda tonight is, if the commission remembers, you asked me to speak to our city engineer with regards to the easement, to Wimnico Timber Company, involving, driving around the edge of our water canal and the pipe in there. And, these easements that are all created up there, I spent hours today going through them, and I'm still not quite done. I'm trying to find a little bit better map that I have to determine whether those easements are there, but quite frankly, I'd be amazed if they didn't have those easements, but I haven't quite got down to that yet. But I did speak to our city engineer, and basically what he stated was, if you drive out there, and also Larry took me out there, and I drove around and got a picture of what it is that's going on, is that pipe is at least 6 to 8 feet under the ground where they make the turn around it. The main concern is if they run off the road, which is quite a ways back there, and fall onto the pipe. But the city engineer, there really doesn't appear that there's any imminent danger at this particular moment. And any of the other alternatives that we may have with regards to that, of building a bridge over the freshwater canal or having them drive miles next to it, kind of has the same danger involved of if someone's not paying attention and they run off the road, or if you're driving across a bridge there leaking oil actually into our water. So I do have a call into a gentleman by the name of William Leonard, who's apparently the one that's administering all those things for a company called American Forest something, I can't quite remember, just to see if they're open to any other alternatives. He hadn't called me back as of the meeting today, but as of right now, it doesn't really necessarily appear that there's any imminent danger to our water pipe. And if Clay doesn't agree with what I just said, but that's kind of.
Council, my question is, did they come to you and tell you that they had an easement and that we could not have it gated? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they sent a stack of easements about this thick.
And that being said, if they had an easement, and then y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, there's nothing we can do about it, right?
Well, I think it stands as, we don't know if they have an easement. But listen, here's my deal. I don't want vehicular, I understand we have maintenance vehicles that go across it, but log trucks, what we're talking about, that's our only water source there. And if that
thing collapses, it's a catastrophe. It will be, and y'all know that here.
I do, but how do you change? I mean, can we
I
take
think
the
they
easement
had-
from them?
Well, they had multiple bridges back in the day, and apparently those have collapsed. They were old and they've collapsed. That's why you're seeing multiple easements.
It was actually, I spoke to Mr. Gay that works out there in my tour of basically our water system, which was very educational, but that old,
No, that
old
was-
pumping station, you look down there, it is,
That's good though that you did that. I
Yeah,
mean, that way you understand.
I can tell you.
but I think it was him, he said that he actually took those bridges down because they were deteriorating so bad.
Yeah, and I believe that. But I'm all for working with them, but let's find a way for them not to have to pass around our maintenance area right there over that pipe. I understand what you're saying with oil and things like that getting in our freshwater ditch. That's why we have filtration system and those type things. But let's try to work with them to find a way to build a bridge.
Well, I have a call in to the gentleman that sent us all that information. He hadn't called me back yet, but I hope to talk to him tomorrow. And we'll explore anyhow, see if they're willing to work with us. And
Yeah.
if not,
We're
then-
all nice guys. Everybody will work. I know each one of us here will work with them.
You know, I haven't looked into this totally, but I mean, if our water system is in imminent danger, I'm not quite sure that it is or not enough to prove something. You know, we might be able to override those easements if we had to, if the
Yeah.
public safety and welfare was at stake. Something as serious as our water system with, we have hospitals and nursing homes, and we can't have that happen.
The average log truck loaded is about at least 70,000 pounds in constant traffic with a loaded log truck over time, and if nobody's rated the capacity for that area, then yeah, we could easily be in trouble over time.
And the other,
So it's not a good scenario for us, really.
And the other thing that Mr. Smallwood mentioned was, simply the fact that the pipe's 70 years old.
I know.
Yeah. That's and have that been stressed, or will it? Make sure
It
you
will
stress
be
that.
when I talk to them,
Okay.
yes.
How long have they been driving across this?
For years, as far as I can tell.
I think the pipe was put in place in 1951.
Yeah.
19 what?
51.
Which is crazy. I mean, it's neat engineering. To me, that thing they bored that thing under the intercoastal canal like that. It's
Right.
in the 50s,
The whole thing was
It-
quite, I was amazed by the whole.
Yeah, it's pretty
The canal that
attractive.
runs 17 miles.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I stand on that. I lost a little bit of time last week. So
Help us out, Clint.
setback.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go to work this week.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Playtime's over.
Yeah.
All right, Jim, old business?
Yes, sir. The first item we have is in reference to the Commerce Park lot utilities. We currently have an extension on the lot sale through 8/14/2017. At the last meeting, there was a discussion too on earnest money. Commissioner Thursby and myself did look at that. There is $1,000 earnest money is what you have on there right now on the current contract. But we still have not received anything back, have we, Mr. Attorney?
No, we haven't, but I've been assured that I will have that in hand, the termination of the easement quitclaim deed by the end of this week.
Okay. Good.
Okay. The next item we have is in reference to the 10th Street Park. Mayor Patterson want to talk to you tonight about it.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to keep it on our agenda so we can talk about it from time to time. I know there was a question one time whether or not we could have 2 representatives on the board. Has anybody ever followed through with that to see if we could have 2?
I did, as requested, I did talk to Commissioner Quinn the next day, did ask him, but I have not heard anything back, Mayor, but he was requested of him.
Jim, that being said, with that, not necessarily at anything, but just in speaking, I talked to Councilman Novak. He told me that he thought that was okay. So maybe instead of, since you hadn't heard back from Sandy, to call and talk to Jeremy. And he can tell you, he knows.
All right.
The next meeting is actually scheduled for the 10th at 9 o'clock.
That's Wednesday, next Wednesday, 9 o'clock at EOC.
Okay.
Okay.
The next item we have is in reference to the entryway door. I think Commissioner Bzett's been working with Mr. Grant.
Yeah, I have, to improve our door back here, take out the glass, put in some nice, six-panel wooden doors and give us a little more privacy in here as well as some way to keep the door closed, when we're in session. So, John, you wanna kinda give us a little update on what you, the price and what you wanna do?
Yes, sir, I can. You know, we were asked to look into this a few months ago, or a month or so ago, and basically the pricing where we're at is the door and jamb is right at $366, so the cost is fairly low. I think, you know, to be on the safe side, if it's something the board wanted to move forward with, we could probably do for less than $1,000. But I would ask if you make a motion to make it that just in case. I mean, the door is certainly the most expensive part. Other than that, 2x framing and you know, some trim.
I'll
Me-
make a motion up to 1,000.
Well, here's my question. Okay, I'm sorry.
We got a motion from Commissioner Lowry. We have a second.
Second for discussion.
Second for discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Thursby.
I just think that it's not gonna look that good if we go with 6-panel doors. I would be more on the lines of something with, like French doors or something that would give us a little privacy, but not just close us off. I mean, even at City Hall in St. Joe, it was like a little bit open.
We're gonna, the glass side lights will remain.
Will remain?
Yeah. those
Okay.
will
Case
remain.
them in, right?
Case them in?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
I was
That-
just
all
thinking
that,
that,
everything's going inside those glass side lights. Only thing will be out are the two glass doors that are there now.
okay, yeah.
So we're not gonna be closed off. Right.
All right, your second.
My second stands.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 4-0. Well,
Okay. The next item under old business, the 2017 budget, Mayor. We have our first scheduled meeting with the board. That's going to be on the 8th at noon at City Hall.
and when is the next one after that?
15, is that right?
22nd.
The 22nd, I believe, is what we had on there, Mayor, for the budget. Now, we do, in a few minutes, we do need to discuss, you could discuss it now if you wanted to. We talked about our meeting on the 15th, which is our second regular scheduled meeting for the month, that we more than likely are not going to have a quorum because 3 of our board members are going to a conference.
What about meeting on Monday?
Yes, sir. What we have right now, we do have a scheduled meeting for the 14th at noon. 2 items will be on there right now. Representative Bashirs will be here. He was actually going to talk to you a little bit about the medical marijuana. And you also have a small-scale plan amendment that we need to have on there because that requires a second public, or a first public hearing on it, so.
Can we move it then?
You were talking about moving the regular meeting on Monday
Monday.
at
Move
6
it to
o'clock. is that
Monday,
what-
or whatever time.
When's
When's Hall?
Representative?
Noon,
Bashir-
at noon. That's on Monday, the 14th.
Why couldn't we have it after that and just go ahead and kill 2 birds with 1
That's
stone
fine
while we're
with me.
here? I mean, we never do that.
Whatever.
Or have it during it and just him out
What we
on the
do is,
agenda.
absolutely,
Exactly.
what we can do is, we've gotta have the one thing on there, we need to call it a special meeting to hold for the small scale.
Okay.
If you got other items of business, we can put those on, and we can have, Representative Bashir speak to us as well.
Or
So
up at
that'll be
City
noon.
Hall or here?
No, sir, that one we advertise for here, so we need to
Okay.
hold that.
But will we be able to vote on things?
Yes,
I mean,
call it a
do
special
that way. Okay,
I'm
regular
gonna see
meeting
if
too.
I can take him for a ride down Reed, Long Avenue before the meeting.
All right.
So we can see if-
Your nice truck.
Yeah.
Y'all okay with
Yeah.
that then?
And no springs in
Is
it.
everybody okay with that?
I am.
So do we need a motion to change the meeting date though, don't we?
Yeah.
that'd be
So,
I make a motion that we move forward with that.
I have a motion from Commissioner Thursby,
I'll second.
second Commissioner Lowry. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're moving it to the 14th.
14th at noon,
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
Yes, sir. So as a recap, we'll have on 8/8, we'll have our budget workshop at noon, and then on 8/14 at noon, you'll have your special meeting, including Halsey Bashir.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
On to new business. First item we have, Mayor, we have Mr. Randy Carver here tonight. He want to talk to you about a business proposal he's looking at Port St. Joe in reference to outdoor entertainment.
All right, Mr. Carter.
All right.
Thank you for, Mr. Anderson, for inviting me and y'all having me today. My wife is not here. I'm from Albany, Georgia. She had foot surgery Friday, so she was unable to come, sends her regrets. but we do want to thank you for letting us come tonight. That a little bit how we got here. I'm a pharmacist at the hospital there in Albany. My wife's been a bookkeeper 40 years. I've been a pharmacist over 37 years. And last year we came down here to Port St. Joe with our RV for 3 months, stayed in Oak Grove, fell in love with the place. And we bought a house in St. Joe Beach in September. And so we've got grandkids and grown kids and doing different things and fishing and beach and love it and laid back. But my wife wound up carrying the grandkids over to Panama City to play mini golf. And my wife's been toying with it, and said, we just think there's a real need for the community, tourists, locals, and great for the city. And we were interested in opening a mini golf course for entertainment. Think would be good for the community and the city, and hope we can make some money at it at the same time. And so we just started trying to, we got serious about it and said, we want to do this. And our plan, if we can come to fruition, my wife's going to go ahead and retire early down to here to work, and I'm going to, I got 5 years till I retire at the hospital. And she live at our house here, and we'll work that. But we started looking at land and different things, and we picked out some land and that we thought was a good location and things. And so we went to the Chamber of Commerce and met with Steve, and then we wound up going to meet with Mr. Anderson, just trying to put all the pieces together, because I don't want to buy any land if I can't do it. Then he pointed out the area we were looking at had some zoning things. We did a little more research, and there's actually some zoning rulings in their code that actually prohibits mini golf in the city, or at least the way I read it for the commercial. And so we're just here to see, like I said, not buying any land. We're just, no reason for me to go forward if you're not entertaining a change or why it was done that way. But the property we've looked at is right across from the post office, the corner of Costin and Garrison.
I
Right
saw
from-
y'all out there looking at it the other day. I didn't know what you were doing at the
We were out
time.
there one weekend, we were measuring,
Right.
and I couldn't find my big tape, so we had a little tape measuring, and, but those lots are 0.16 acres, and that's what we're trying to determine, how many we need. We're probably gonna need at least 5 up to 7, depending on what we can only afford to probably build one course, 18 holes to begin with, and if things go good, we could expand. We're not looking to make a family entertainment center, go-karts, all that kind of stuff. We think that's, it's too much cost for it and to support it, but we think the mini golf, it appeals to all ages, young to old. It's one of the few things that teenagers will do with their parents and grandparents, and actually, it's over a fairly short period of time, if you market it right and have good participation, you make a decent amount of money in it. And so that's sort of what we want to do, and I'm just here just to see what my next steps would be. We've actually already been in, St. Joe Company owns that land. We've already contacted them that it's not currently for sale, but they'll entertain the offers and doing so. I was just trying to get all my cattle to the gate before we proceeded, and mini golf is not a inexpensive startup cost, and we don't want to make anything cheap. We don't want to make nothing hugely elaborate. And my wife, actually, she got to do a little theme for the kids, and so her theme is things like, we want to have starfish in it, scallop in it, sea turtle, seahorse, boat, a fisherman, fish, sand dollar. Actually, we got a name for it. If we do it, it's going to be Sharky's Mini Golf, sort of play off the St. Joe Sharks.
I like it.
And so that we like I said, and then we want to have, my wife already envisions like a shark that a man can stand there like he caught it, but then also have a cartoon type shark that a kid can get the pictures taken
Right.
with. And that's probably about the biggest thing we would do, have birthday parties there, and she wants a bridge and some water. So those are little things that she sent me a text to make sure I mentioned that that's what we're looking for, not some of these elaborate ones and things, but we want more than what the old, if you remember putt-putt golf, when it came out years ago, it was just straight little course.
My grandfather owned one in Mexico Beach. A lot of people won't remember it probably. Rex probably does, but
See, I hadn't talked to anybody that knew
Yes,
there's
I
been one
remember
here,
it.
so.
yeah. I mean, I had to be about 2. Rex was probably 20.
You're probably surprised.
But anyhow, I didn't mean to cut you off
No.
if I did.
No, that was,
Well, I spoke with Jim about it, and I'm excited.
we are too.
And I couldn't believe there was an ordinance against it, but in the day, who knows? But I I'd like to see a business plan, you know, of what it's gonna look like, you know?
Right, we're at the beginning, and
And-
Quinn Lamb's gonna work with me.
Okay.
I was recommending him out at the college, and we've talked, and we're just gonna get together and start
You
putting
know,
those
that
pieces.
thing's gonna be nice and good taste, and listen, you say you don't wanna go elaborate, but these teenagers and these kids, and I know it's expensive, an arcade a little bit in there, a few games or what have you in there, may be an option for you, because our children in this community have nothing to do but, and they get in trouble. And, I mean, I've raised 3 of them right here. And I've walked the streets with them cleaning up where they roll yards, and they've done this and they've done that. I'm excited. I appreciate people like you. And I don't know what steps we need to take tonight, but I know that you probably need to go ahead and talk about buying the property, you know, before something happens and pulls it out underneath you.
Well, he probably wants our,
Yeah, exactly, and I would too before I bought the property.
What
But
entails
let's
we
just
gotta do?
let everybody discuss it. Any
But you
bo-
mentioned the arcade, we had talked about that, but there's actually an ordinance again against
Well,
it too.
and that's why I wanted to bring that up, because I'd also heard that too. So if we're gonna allow that, I would like to go ahead and allow that. But I want all these commissioners to have a minute to speak on this before I make a motion to do anything.
First, I'd like to hear from Jim what's gotta be done to make it possible.
Right.
From our
Good
standpoint.
idea.
Sure. Well, actually, first I'd like to thank Mr. Carver. He did research too. He did the right thing. He come and sat down and talked and wanted to see exactly what was possible, what could or couldn't be done on the property. But looking through your land development regulations, said there were some prohibitions about miniature golf. If you'll flip over to page 7 of your agenda pack, section 3.21 of your land development regulation talks about prohibited uses. And if you
Page
read,
7?
Yep, page 7 of your agenda pack.
The original,
The original, not the new one, because I don't have a page 7 on
Not
my
numbered?
updated.
I don't need it.
Y'all?
What is it?
I went from 1 to 8.
No, I got the 7.
Yes, sir.
Where's that?
that's in your original.
It's in the original, not the amended
In the
with the new one.
original, not the original.
It's section 3.21 of your land development regulation. The short and skinny of it is, says the following use are prohibited in C1 and C2 commercial district and also within 2,500 feet of Highway 98. So most of that just about covers all of Fort St. Joe, gentlemen. And it goes on to talk about water parks, go-karts, arcades, amusement parks, just about any kind of outdoor entertainment. So in order to be able to have this type of business in Port St. Joe, what we need is, we will need to get direction for staff to work with the city attorney to draft an ordinance to allow for whatever type of uses that you want to amend or how you want to allow that use in the city limits. And normally what you do with that, you would take it to the planning board because it does deal with land development regulations. They would see it first and give you a recommendation as to moving forward on it, but. I
Is
think
that
it's
something we have to do though? I mean, because all that does is take more time. And I feel like this board are the elected officials up here. And the people elect us, and I got a great PDRB board. But I'd like to go ahead and give this man an answer tonight so he
My
can
wife
start
wants to
moving.
open March 1st.
I mean, really, come on, if it's something that we feel good about, we can research this and do this ourselves. Not everything's got to be
Defer to legal
done.
on that one.
Huh?
I'll have to defer to legal on that one.
Have you got any renderings or anything as of right now? What kind of parking are you doing?
Well, my wife's drawn some things out, parking across the back, but you know, the storage building's behind there. I think
Yeah.
there's gotta be an easement for an alley between the two of us. And then, parking there, handicap parking is there by where you, a little clubhouse where you come in, and I think it's close to 20 parking spaces.
Is that what's necessary per LDR, I'm guessing? No, we need to figure that out.
I don't know
We need
the
to figure that
exact
out, too.
on that. That's
What I was curious about, which you gotta figure that out too, based on LDR, but paved parking or,
We talked
Gravel.
about paved, but, I realize we gotta worry about runoff and,
Yeah,
it could be
stormwater.
gravel. But that's one thing about the mini golf, I've been some places where it's all concrete. We're not trying to do that. We want to have some landscaping and some things, so we hope that there'll be some, percutaneous around it. But like I said, we want to, have the adequate parking, but we also want to meet the regulations, and I don't want to spend a fortune on it either, if I don't have to.
That is expensive.
Yes, my wife's priced some of that out already, just seeing, so.
And
She's been
I'm
busy.
gonna have to decide that too.
Randy, it sounded like you've done your homework, quite well up to this point, and as a sidelight, it's good to have another pharmacist in town too. So, we might find some work for you.
I have a
around
Florida
the
license.
league.
I've never practiced in Florida, but I've got
There
it,
you go.
and
There you
I've
go.
kept it.
But anyway, what I'd like to see us do is C1 and C2, have prohibited uses, and I don't wanna see us open up a Pandora's box that's
Right.
gonna affect our tourist corridor, which is 98. So if we can find a way to make that area, which is 71 Costin Boulevard, kind of work out and get rid of some of these prohibited uses and not open up 98
Right.
box for things that
understand.
we really don't want on that tourist corridor. So I'm all for it. Sounds really good.
And the property we're looking at, it's actually zoned C1A.
Yeah.
So it's got even
It's
more
got-
restricted, so,
Right.
as well.
So that's what I'd like to see us work toward, and maybe allow certain things that are prohibited now, but leave, some in that we'd certainly don't wanna see in that area, which of course benefits you in the long run anyway, not to have a mechanic shop next to you.
Right, but like I said, we want to be involved in the community. I mean, we feel like we're locals now as much as we come down here. I'm putting the miles on my truck coming down, so
Right.
and my grandkids love it, a block from the beach. But we are, see tie-ins with the schools, free games to honor roll kids, things like, we're thinking lots of different things to bring people in and be involved and be a part of
We're
it.
all about that community involvement, and we
So,
like.
Mayor, can we work with staff and the attorney on ideas, to make this thing work?
It'd be brought
make
back
it-
to us
And
at
make it
next
work for
meeting.
businesses in the future. I mean, I'd like to say, I think we just have to be careful when we change ordinance for one business. We gotta
Yeah.
look at what's coming down the road in 10 years.
And I agree with that. The only problem I do have though is like years ago, I had thought about, those batting cages, cause we're such, if a business like he's doing, if he wanted to put in some batting cages, an arcade and all that type of stuff,
Yeah.
if it's done in good taste and it's a nice looking place, I'm for it.
I am in.
Batting cages would be a big plus.
Yeah.
Not on the tourist corridor though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
but
love
I
to see
think
it.
that's
I
a
mean,
great location.
We need somewhere our kids can go.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
man, and when I see crap like this, I think, you know what? That's why our kids hadn't had nothing to do in the past all these years, because some idiot put something like this in writing. I mean, we're not living in 1950 anymore. The paper mill's not paying all our bills.
One thing about us, we're business friendly, so keep that in mind.
Well, like I said, we worked hard our whole life. We worked for companies, like I said, it was be our first, other than some little network marketing, this would be our first business. But we usually put everything we got into everything. We like to throw parties when we've had anniversary. We cut back, but we did, so we put all our effort into it. We'll do this too.
I think we're on board with the
Yeah.
idea.
Mayor, boy, if y'all good with that, what we'll do is Clint and myself will get together and we'll take input from you and try to bring something back to you the next meeting, see
Next
what our
meeting.
options
Keeping
are.
in mind what Commissioner Bozette said.
Sure.
Keeping in mind what you said about.
Yeah.
Keeping it
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhat restricted a little bit.
in the quickest way we can do it.
When does the PDRB board meeting again, and is that something you discussed with council, and they said it does need to go to that?
That we need to look at a little bit further, but normally what you've got is your land development regulations, or normally they give you recommendations or any changes or deletions, because they try to give us an interpretation of it. But we're gonna look at it to see if we can bring it straight to you.
You gotta be careful about setting precedents.
Yeah,
Right.
That's exactly right.
You do. This one here probably gets to me more than anything, because I've sat here for all these years and thought, well, we need something for our children to do. And then to find out that this is on the books, it gripes my butt.
Well, that's when we got Mr. Carver
And
here
l-
tonight.
so when we do that, I don't see where it says the arcade part of it in this one. Is there another ordinance that speaks to arcades? Or is it in this part?
It's actually in this one right here. It does say,
Amusement parks,
Arcade, yeah,
arcade.
it's in there.
Yep, it says,
Okay.
it covers just about any kind of outdoor entertainment.
And we're
there is.
talking about
Yeah.
section 1 here, right?
Yes, sir, section 3.21 on prohibited uses.
All right.
And then there's a section below that, down there about you can't have windmills,
Yeah, I
mountains,
don't-
volcanoes.
Water,
So that all sort of applies together.
dinosaurs.
Yeah, and that's not where we're going, but we have some themes, so we don't
Depending on
want it
the
to be
theme of the
misconstrued. so.
If
Right.
If this thing takes off, would you consider expanding into like an arcade or something like that?
We could, I mean, part of what we're doing, I think there's actually 11 lots, but we're trying to see what we can afford now, but, and right now, what we're talking, that we probably can, in our plan, probably 7, and we could probably build 18 holes on half and have to be able to expand to either another set of holes or add something else there.
Mr. Carver, you okay with, let's just working this out and then in 2 weeks coming back?
And is 2 weeks when you moved your meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To the 14th.
14th, that Monday, and it'll be at noon.
Okay, can I, let me double check my calendar real quick. Yes, sir, I can make that work. Make that work. And it'll be here?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
New 14th, yes, sir. And we have some more information for you by then.
That
as
sounds
well.
good. I'm totally in support for what you're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it, thanks for coming.
Come up.
Yes, sir, the next item we.
Hold on a minute, Jim. We got one more.
Speak on that.
I just wanted to speak briefly on his behalf to let you know what I'll be doing with Randy. First thing, tomorrow morning, we have a meeting at one of the local banks at 9 o'clock to present the program to him. The second thing we're going to do is write the business plan, which y'all will want to see, and the bank definitely wants to see. You mentioned 2 weeks. Probably Randy can be ready in 2 weeks. I may not, but I'll have at least be on our way with that business plan. It takes a little bit of time. But anyway, I just want to let you know that I will be working with him and developing his plan, which I think is great too.
I do too.
All right.
Our kids
Thank you.
need some. Thank you.
All right, Jim.
Okay.
Next.
The next item we have is a reference to outdoor sales, another business opportunity for Port St. Joe. Mr. Mark Bancourt is here tonight.
Thank you. Gentlemen,
Hi.
I am so sorry about the short notice of this. I have been spending the last several months down in the area. We're exploring the launch of a number of different businesses all around the beauty of the bay and the area. Specifically tonight, I'm here to talk to you about Mr. Duran's property between 2nd and 3rd that he did a beautiful job clearing and paving. And I'm specifically interested in talking about selling boats on that location for an interim period of time. As I mentioned, we're excited about the potential to expand the boating and marine operations here. As a matter of fact, we think one of the things that's shockingly absent in your area is a high-quality boat dealer, sales, service, maintenance operation for boats. You've got the most spectacular bay, in my opinion, in all of the Gulf of Mexico. There are people that are coming from the north, like me, and there is nothing, in my opinion, of the quality that the area deserves, probably within 30 miles in both directions. So I've talked to Mr. Duran. He's excited about what we would be able to do over the short term. We've worked out the economics of it, and he's quite excited about it on our behalf. We've done some preliminary work. I had a chance to talk to Mr. Anderson just yesterday on what kind of restrictions or regulations. I offered to come and talk with you gentlemen here tonight and answer any questions that you might have. like the gentleman before, we have, I'm from the Chicagoland area. We've been coming down here since we were 28, so since we were 20, actually. So we've been coming down in the area for about 40 years. Started further west, Dolphin Island, and then Orange Beach, and have increasingly tried to get away from the crowds and ended here in this beautiful town and beautiful area called Port St. Joe. So we're real excited about launching this. This is just the beginning of a number of investments we're going to make in the community to be part of the terrific thing you have going here. So my question is, and I don't know what the restrictions were. I've gotten, mixed feedback, but I'm also want to, Mr. Duran and I both want to make sure we're in good stead before we start doing
Would you be
something.
leasing this building also that's on that lot?
Well, we'd be using just a little bit of it. We'd have a couple of offices
The
there.
offices would be in that building?
Yeah, just a couple, just to have a place to get cool
Yeah, I didn't
and
know
go
if you wanted to set
inside,
up a
but
temporary office out
Yeah,
there. Using
right.
that building, I think would be better.
yeah, that's right.
Would you, have somebody man that office, or you
All
gonna
the time.
pull all the time?
All the
Because
time.
my concern is I don't want a boatyard.
Yeah, no.
I want it manned.
Yep.
How long are you thinking, Mark?
Well, our thinking is, 90 to 120 days. In the meantime, we're looking at a number of different pieces of property and strategies in the greater St. Joe area, Port St. Joe area. So we don't see it as permanent. Mr. Duran doesn't want it to be permanent either, nor do we. But we also want to make our presence known. We want to capitalize on the timing. Timing is now for traffic and boats and boat traffic. We think that it'll, just to give you some comfort, I suppose, we're not talking about, boats that have been sitting in yards for, several years trying
My
to.
next question, are these new boats?
About.
Newly?
Well, I'm finalizing that in the next couple of days, partially dependent on our response here this evening. But I would say on that lot, about half of the boats will be brand new, and about half the boats will be higher-end boats. Just as a way of measure, we'll have a minimum kind of commission, so to speak, on any used boat of $5,000. So that kind of tells you the level of boat, that we're talking about, probably $30,000 and up for a used boat, and then new boats.
I got one question, and then I'm gonna let everybody else talk, because I talk too much sometimes. If we were able to do something like a 6-month, 180-day, special events thing for that area, would that help you?
That'd be terrific, yeah. That's actually, I talked to Mr. Duran today, and we both agreed that 6 months would kind of be the outside of what we have in mind. Maybe shorter, but 6 months would be plenty. Yeah, it'd be very helpful.
How many vessels do you plan to put?
Well, as you know, it all depends on size. We're going to also have to accommodate and want to accommodate parking so that people can come off of 98 and not back up traffic there. So we're going to start with about half to 2/3 of the lot, with boats. We think we can get 20 to 25 boats on there, depending on size and shape and so on. But it's 360 feet long and
Yeah.
pretty deep. We think we can get them double in there, some at an angle. We're going to display them nicely. And, of course, that's a beautiful spot to see boats as people are going through town, and it's close to the
Have you thought about
launch.
the signage?
Well, our thinking is to get them up quickly, we would just start with a banner, that would be along the back of the property, maybe on the front of the building on the corner of 2nd and 98.
A
But-
couple of wrinkles there. Of course, the banner just made me jump on Bo's sign ordinance a little bit.
Yeah.
And, I think there's a limitation on the length of time you can keep a banner up,
Okay,
according to sign ordinance. The other thing is, of course, I think we all know currently it's is a prohibited use for what you wanna do for that location. And I don't have a problem with a special use permit for a certain length of time. I wouldn't like to see any extensions on it at all. That could go on forever.
Yes, sir.
A couple other things that concern me a little bit when you said, new, used boat service and maintenance. I don't think we wanna see any service and maintenance going on in the tourist corridor, AKA a garage to work on boats.
Yeah, so that's my fault. In the bigger picture, we're thinking,
That eventually you've
Yes.
gotta have it if you're gonna sell them.
Yes, sir.
But I just think, we especially don't need to change our ordinance, cause we've really worked a lot, spent a lot of money on that tourist corridor.
you bet, it's beautiful.
I don't really think we want this as a permanent location, even though I'm excited about any new business coming to town.
Yes, sir.
We have to be very careful going forward for the future.
Yes,
So, if we did do a special use permit, I assume when the attorney says we can do it, I'm not sure I'd support 6 months, but something a little less than that.
okay.
And that kinda puts your feet to the fire a little bit to find a good permanent location.
Yeah. Well, our goal is to wrap this up by the end of the year, if not before, because we're not gonna see that as permanent, but we think it's a great launching pad to
Get your name out there and get going, yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta see that.
But you're
Counselor?
not gonna do maintenance on there.
We're not gonna do maintenance,
That's
we're
just
gonna
later
do
on.
service,
Right,
that's later on.
but not at this
on the-
location.
Not at this
This is
location.
just gonna be
at
sales.
all.
Sales.
At all, just sales, just sales. Yes, sir.
Counselor,
Yes.
can we do that?
I think there's a way to do it. I'd have to look into the exact details, but I think it can be done.
So does he need to come back in 2 weeks, or
I'm
can
fine
we
with
give him
6
that?
months.
Me too,
I mean, every 6 months.
yeah,
No extensions, that I'm fine with your caveat.
yeah. 6
Does
months.
that work for you?
That works great,
Right.
that's plenty.
But as long as our attorney can figure out the way to do it, we're all on board with it.
Right.
And I think I should by the next meeting.
Yeah, so come back at noon
Can you
on,
come back that next meeting?
I can come back, unlike mini putt, the next 2 weeks are prime boat season.
Right.
So, again, and I know it's short notice, I just, started this discussion.
Can we,
I don't think there's anything we can do in
let-
2 weeks
yeah.
to help him.
the only
It's-
thing is, I mean, here's the deal, can we vote on it tonight with the, can we vote on it, guys, tonight? With the concession being made, unless you find out that we cannot do special event for 6 months?
I think
So
what I-
that if we vote on it, we get the votes tonight, this guy calls you in 2 or 3 days, and you find out everything's okay, you can tell him to move forward.
Yes, sir. I think what I need to do is get with council tomorrow, but in conferring with him and looking at this thing the last couple of days, we just got it yesterday, but looking over it, I believe what you could do is, an example is we have an auto dealership that's coming to town in a couple of weeks for a temporary tent sale. I believe what we can do is we can do a temporary sale on there for the next number of days that you tell us you want to do it on there. This is not going to change the zoning. If you want to do this permanently, we'll need to do it like we did the other with the
Yeah, but we're
boards to
talking
change
a
it permanently.
6 month special.
Yes.
He don't
So-
have to be here when we.
Right.
That's what I'm
So-
saying, I
You
mean,
don't have to be here.
So I
No.
think you're correct, as long as, let council look at this behind me on it, but I believe we can do a temporary sale, just like we're doing with the tent sales for the automobiles. and you'll be
but even
fine.
though he's not here, is what I'm getting at, y'all,
Well, I
if
can
he's-
be
Are
here.
you
That's
wanting
not-
to
that-
start selling boats in
I want
next
to start
week?
selling boats as soon as I
When?
can.
When? Or before the 14th?
Yes,
So that's what I'm saying, y'all. If next week or in 5 days, 4 days, y'all find out it's okay, let the man start selling boats while we still got some tourists in town.
Exactly.
Should we have, there guys got to be a few caveats on there as far as, if he drags unsightly things up there, even though he says he's not, but we all have to be careful. If something comes up there that's unsightly and so forth, we have to have a little teeth in something that says, this is not working out. We need to, you're not
Yeah.
doing what you said you're gonna do, and so to protect the citizens of the city,
sure.
we need to make sure that you do what you say you're gonna do, and if not, we need to have something in writing somewhere that says.
Well, I agree, but we're doing this for 6 months. In 6 months, he's gonna be gone.
Well, it could be jumped up in a week. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
Well, I'm gonna be relocated.
I had a very good friend that gave you very high praise, called me about this situation. I'll make a motion that we give you 6 months special events. In my motion, any boat that is unsightly to this board,
You have to buy.
yeah,
No.
no, we have to take to Rex's house. No, I'm just kidding.
Trust me.
Any
yeah.
unsightly boats or any unsightly business going on there,
Yeah.
we can cancel this contract that we make with you for this 6 months.
I have a lot of confidence you're gonna love the boats that'll be there.
I have confidence in you because I've talked to somebody that gave you high praise.
Thank you.
Okay?
Got a motion?
I got a motion.
Got a second?
I'll second.
6 months.
If you
No
will,
renewals too.
No
No
renewal.
extension.
Okay.
No extension.
That's great.
My second stand.
All right, we have a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
with that.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
The next item we have under new business tonight is Healthcare Trust. Commissioner Bezette want to talk to you tonight about it.
Okay, guys, in 2005, it was June 7th, 2005, a memorandum of understanding between Sacred Heart, Gulf County, the Health Department, and St. Joe Company came together for the intent to fund, construct, and operate a charitable, not-for-profit acute care hospital in Gulf County. With that memorandum of understanding, the county passed an ordinance to levy a half-cent sales tax. And the purpose of that half-cent sales tax was to pay the cost of operation of healthcare services for the county's uninsured, underinsured, indigent population, as well as other local government infrastructure projects as permitted by law. And that was July the 12th, 2005. The reason I'm saying that is I've been chairman of that healthcare trust since I was appointed by this board to serve. My term is coming to an end on this board, and so somebody needs to start thinking about taking my place. And there is a 7-member board. Let's see, 11 to 13 members. Let's see, 3 members of the board, Gulf County Board of Commissioners, one member by the city, 1 member by City of Weewall, and Sacred Heart. So it's an important committee to be on because you administer that half-cent sales tax for help people of Gulf County, as well as basically keep the hospital going, infrastructure for the hospital. But for 3 years, we funded the ambulance service $70,000 a year they were going in the hole picking up folks with indigents that couldn't pay. So there's a lot of good that comes out of it. It's a good committee. And I just wanted to kind of get you guys thinking about somebody from this board being appointed to that committee because it's important and it's a good committee to be a member of.
And everything's worked like y'all planned it to since
Yeah,
you've been on that
see,
board?
the county agreed with that half-cent sales tax to pay the hospital over 25 years, up to $21,500. And there's a table basically of how much they pay every year on this half-cent sales tax. Now, we amended that several years ago because the economy went down, therefore the half-cent sales tax went down, so the hospital agreed to lower that money. It can be kind of complicated, but the bottom line is it's a worthwhile committee to be on. And so
Is the
I'm not
hospital
sure
held-
Commissioner Lowry can be on it. I'm sorry, because he
Right.
works for the county. But, somebody needs to think about that and step forward. I'll be glad to give you all, everything I've got that help you understand what it's all about. But, it's
Well, I'm
something
glad you
that's
explained
important.
it, because I didn't understand
Yeah,
anything about
and,
it.
and I've been on it a long time, and still some of the
Do they-
funding mechanisms, I don't understand.
Do they,
fully.
that's what I was gonna ask you, is there a percentage that goes to indigent care, a percentage that goes to just hospital maintenance and that type, and then so much it goes, or is it broke down? No, not at
No,
all?
it's not broken down. The only thing it's broken down to is how much they'll pay the hospital, but the bottom line is, you can use money if the hospital agrees to it, to help fund things that need to be funded.
Okay.
And so, it's something I want y'all to be aware of, start thinking about. They use the money, they fund the money to the state, who has called a low-income pool. And it goes to that low-income pool, and they make more money off the low-income pool than we could make ourselves. And so it comes all the way around back to us. We get more bang for our buck, let's put
Okay.
it that way. So
All right.
that's a Reader Digest version, but there's a big version too, so be aware of that, study up, I'll give y'all information.
Okay.
Somebody might have to go pick it up.
Okey-doke. Jim, we finished the next one, didn't we?
Yes, sir. I think we've already done as a recap. We said 8/8 at noon is going to be your budget workshop at City Hall, and then 8/14 we're going to have a special.
Okay.
Will y'all send those, email those dates out? just
Please.
For everybody.
All right. John?
Mayor, just real quick, I want to let the board know that we received the high school liquidation yesterday. We actually put that in the ground today. So our plan is to hopefully have that, operational by middle of next week. So we're trying to beat the August 14th deadline.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty important, isn't
It's
it?
pretty important.
Yeah, all right. That it?
That's it.
Any questions for John? Thank you, John. Kevin?
Have a little bit of trouble with equipment and headworks. I've got Philip Jones, calling a few people, figure out what we can do, a better route than we got going on now. So, Grid Kings are down, temporarily, we hope. So we'll try to get that back up by the end of the week, that kind of stuff.
We got to get them going with all this heat and everything, don't we?
Yeah, we'll get that back up. We're spraying, and we're spraying hard. The pond's looking, as far as the level of the pond, they're looking well. So that's just kind of where we are.
Okay.
How about algae?
Still got a little bit of algae. It's, we've seen a lot worse. The disruptors are really doing, they're not 100% effective. But when you're talking in terms of these kind of things, you talk in terms of percentage of effectiveness. And, I would assume it would be around the 70% effective, which means we don't have the big mats like we had in years past.
Right.
So that's, that's why right now you should be smelling, in years past you would be smelling lagoon, right now you don't.
We haven't had any calls on smell since we
I've had a
put those,
couple.
have we?
I've had a couple.
Okay.
They'll start to form and then, they'll dissipate, and that's what these things do. They keep the bulk of the algae down.
All right. Any questions for Kevin?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, Mike?
The FERDAP committee met, and I've neglected to put the minutes from that meeting in your box, but I will do that. And basically, the committee has talked about a lot of options with 2 FERDAP grants that we're able to apply for. And we've scheduled another meeting to come in after the county has their meeting on 10th Street, and so that the committee can have a little clarity on where that's going, and hope to come back to the board with a recommendation for the first meeting in
How
September.
many people's on that board?
There were 7 members on that committee, I believe.
How many
it is.
people were there that day?
We had 5. We had 5 of the 7 members at the meeting.
I mean, I'm on that board. I wasn't there. Was I one of the ones missing? Because
Yeah,
here's the
yeah.
deal. I don't, and I told Miss Charlotte that I thought that I could make it and I couldn't. And then I talked to the other person that wasn't there. I just think that those type meetings, they need to be after 5 o'clock. I mean, not everybody can take off at 12 or 1 o'clock in the daytime. So I'd like to, from now on, let's set those things up for after work hours.
Sure.
Okay.
Set those meetings up.
Any Anything else for Mike?
Yeah, Mike, I've been talking to Mike on the budget as well as Jim, and we found some mistakes on the first budget package, so if you hadn't got an updated budget packet, maybe Mike would put one in each of your box. And it's pretty, I thought, glaring error, but he recognized it right off the bat, fixed it. There's some items in the budget we certainly need to look at. We've always been transparent about everything we do here on the board. That's why we have an agenda. We try to go by the agenda, and so everybody's informed of everything we try to do. So there's some items in the budget we need to be transparent about. So if anybody wants to look at the budget, it's available at City Hall. We're having 2 workshops, or 3, is it? 2?
You have to have two
And then the
permanent.
final, so you may want to attend the budget workshop and/or get a packet, so.
Yeah, I will
Thank you.
provide updated budgets to everyone by the end of the week.
All right, thank you.
And just be sure anytime that there's something that's changed or something, that you call and let all of us know, all 5 board members know, before it's changed. We might not want it changed. Okay?
I didn't change anything, it was a math error.
Okay.
It was a keying error.
All right.
Yeah, that's all.
All right. Anything else for Mike? All right, Mr. City Engineer, come on down.
Yes, sir. Couple updates for you, just at the boat ramp. They're continuing to work down there. They've got the rubber bumpers up on that north dock on the pilings, and they're working on the bumpers on the wall. They'll continue to do that. On the south side, all the timber piles are in for the dock, and they've got most of the structure on it and a decent bit of the decking on that dock. And all the sheet piles are in, all the dead men are in, the tiebacks. They poured the grade beams, and so starting on Monday, they're going to start forming up that cap on the south wall and the sidewalk and all that. Probably taking the better part of the week to form that and then pour it, hopefully by the end of next week.
Right.
And that'll be, they'll quickly be coming to, except for the concrete work in front of the ramp, they'll quickly be wrapping it up, I would think, over the next 3 or so weeks. So, barring good weather, it's moving along. Long Avenue Water, I think those bids for the materials are the end of this month. They're coming in the end of this month. And so what we plan to do when those come in, those numbers come in is, if you remember, the city has, just over $1 million in your road bond allocation. And so our plan is that'll bring some more clarity to the budget picture. We kind of know what the road's going to cost. We'll be able to plug that in for the water cost, and then that'll tell us how much we have left to attack the sewer issues. And so what we plan to do is, once we know that dollar amount, kind of prioritize what we can do with that money on Long Avenue and bring that back to you. Kind of explain, here's the needs we think are on Long Avenue, here's the money you have available to do the sewer part that we need to do, and then kind of let you see the whole project as a whole and say, yeah, that's it. It's kind of our game plan. So,
About how long do you think before that?
well, the bids come in for the water prices at the end of this month. So
End of
August
the month.
31st, they get opened, or they come in, I think they get opened that day. So, September, probably not the first meeting in September, we won't know because you got Labor Day right there, but I would imagine the second meeting in September, we'll be able to present you something.
Well, you know the numbers that we sent Halsey's office.
Mhm.
That was kind of preliminary based on what we run into, I guess.
That's right.
I
It
know
was.
with him coming in here, I know all the commissioners want to kind of hit him up with additional paving money. So, because that he's, I don't want to necessarily say promise, but he said he could help us out with. So, I tell you what, just I'll get with you and get that number. I think it was around 700.
I believe what we did is we took the estimated road cost, and that's what we asked them for. And,
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll take as much as they'll give us, but that's kind of how we arrived at that number.
Right.
We took,
Okay.
here's the cost for the road, the paving, which is, probably fits into the categories he could tap into. And then, nothing major on Jones Homestead Sewer, other than, we'll continue to get that application ready to go to DEP this month. So, no issues there. That was all I had for you. Unless there were questions.
One question, it doesn't relate to anything that's on here. Do you know where we stand on any of that grant that we went out for some drainage with the SCOP and the SCRAP grants, I think, for like the 6th and 7th Street sewage, drainage, stormwater or something? Jim?
I'll
help me
check.
out.
Kinda remember
No, I
too.
don't. I tried, it's been a while.
That
I know we
street
did
in-
apply 2 more SCOP
that
grants.
Street in on 6th and 7th, wasn't it? That lot there?
Well, no, this
It's
is
part of
the-
it's part
Part
of the-
of that.
Part of that,
Part
yeah.
of that. I'll
Well,
check. I'll
Okay,
check.
look at that, because we had we had people calling, and John's group was out there, and I just kinda wanted to tell them, so.
Which I believe that was legislative appropriation money we
Yeah,
applied
we
for
just
that,
need
and I
to
don't
s-
think we got any of
Yeah.
that money
Okay.
this past year. We did apply for 2 with that, with the scrap, and I haven't heard, so I do need to check.
Was
on
that part of one of the ones with
No,
that?
sir, the scrap money, if I remember correct me if I'm wrong, Clay, I think we applied again for 8th Street by the Stack House, and then we applied for Garrison, I believe the other.
To finish
extension of
Garrison, I think
So
that
I
was
think
it.
that was the 2
That's
we
fine.
applied for this
Okay.
year. But the other, I believe, is legislative money, and we didn't get any.
And when do we go to start putting in, or is there other grants, Clay, that you can look at for something like that, for that drainage?
For the drainage?
Yeah.
We will, you know, this may not be as immediate as you'd like it
Yeah,
to
I
be, but some
know
of
it's
this,
not gonna be.
you know, restore and different pots of that, I mean, I would imagine some of that fits into that somehow, some of that infrastructure deal, but yes,
All right.
sir. we
That's
will.
Yeah,
all
we
I
got,
got.
the bottom line with that, is restore and, some Triumph funds, we're gonna have to find other monies, you know, to match.
Yep, you're right.
Which if you're a municipality, it's I believe it's a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1, and if you're a private organization, it's like a 4-to-1. Something like that. I'll have to get that from Warren, but, we just need to be thinking about that.
Right. That's all I got.
Thank you, Clay.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank
Sir.
y'all.
All right, police department,
Thank you, Mayor.
come on up.
I don't have anything on the agenda, but I would like to give you a quick update. At our last meeting, we talked about our police department cadet unit going on a field trip. And we did the following Saturday. And we went to Gulf Coast State College's North Bay campus, their Division of Public Safety, and they entertained our 11 cadets for, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours. They got hands-on training on CPR, first aid, firefighting. They got to ride in a patrol car doing a tactical police course, firearm simulator. I want to thank Matt Combs. He wrote what I thought was a pretty awesome article
He
on
sure
the front
did. I
page of the
agree.
Star this week, highlighting those young folks and what they're doing, what they're learning. But I just wanted to give you an update on that. The only other thing I got is I don't want to steal your thunder. Are you going to mention the event on Friday?
You can go ahead.
All right, the Shark 100 Club has a kickoff event Friday morning at 10 o'clock. So I know a lot of y'all are Shark 100 Club members. And, you know, the mayor's the president of the club. I'm the vice president, and Andy Smith is the co-vice president. But a lot of folks seem to not know, even though this is the 31st year, that the Shark 100 Club benefits all athletics, not just football.
Right.
And so we want to get that word out there. I mean, for as little as $100, you can help Shark Athletics.
Where did you say it's gonna be held?
It'll be at Shark Stadium. It'll be at 10 o'clock
10 o'clock
Friday morning.
Hopefully the rain
Yep, they'll be having a live practice after the kickoff event. You'll be able to do a meet and greet with players, coaches. That's all I got.
I have one thing for you. What is our youngest deputy's name? I always draw a blank. Caleb.
Caleb Kesterson.
All right. Had a man stop by my house the other day. He had went to Panama City to get a piece of furniture. He's about 82 years old. One of the drawers or one of the handles or something flew out of the back of the truck. He had walked a long way from his vehicle trying to find the piece. Caleb had actually found the piece, picked the man up, took him back to his car with the piece. The man came by and told me that it was one of our city police officers, but he didn't know his name. So when I was out at Indian Pass, I saw, well, there's that blue Dodge, and I talked to Caleb about it after that. And I just want to give Caleb a little shout out there that we appreciate it, and that's what our police department's all about, is helping people.
I appreciate that very much. Just so you know, Officer Kesterson was hired a year ago today, and we've completed his paperwork, so he's off probation as of today.
Would you, extend that
I
thank
will.
you to him, please?
Yes, sir, I will. And I appreciate the feedback.
Right.
And, you know, I've said this many times, I'm proud of him for doing that. That's what all of them do, and there's not another officer that wouldn't do that as well.
Right.
But I appreciate the feedback, and I will let him know. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it, Matt.
All right, Miss City Clerk.
I don't have anything, sir.
All
Thank you.
righty. Citizens to be heard. Anyone in the audience want to be heard tonight? Come on up.
Mo, you skipped over code enforcement, can I?
Well, hold on 1 minute now. Let's do code enforcement.
Yeah, we don't ever talk about that, but I'll say this, that Reggie's on the ball, Richie.
I like it.
Reggie's on the ball. I had some folks move out for a rental house, near my house, Saturday. And I was checking my city emails yesterday, and they had piled of furniture and stove, chairs and everything up out there. Monday morning, it was already written up as a code violation. I didn't complain to him, I didn't call him nothing, it was just, you know, so I just wanted to say he's out there doing his thing.
Good.
Okay.
Sorry,
All right.
Chad, sorry, Chad.
Now, citizens to be heard. Come on up.
Just want to make sure, Chester Neighbors Budget Area Coalition. On the 26th of August, we still want our commissioners to come to the 11:30 meeting. We haven't secured a place as of yet. We're trying to make sure that we have a location that will be applicable for all people to come. One of the things we want the commissioners to help us with is to show our guests some of the areas that we can talk about, some of the areas that we need to look at for redevelopment. This is the meeting that's concerning the Big Bend CDC, partnering with the North Port St. Joe Coalition in order that we might be able to have some future funds come in. I think it's very important that we have city representation there in order that they might be able to hear and see some of the things that we're trying to do. Our mayor was already there at that meeting we had in Tallahassee, but to have one here in Port St. Joe so we can kind of tie the knots up, so we can start looking at the future of what we can do for North Port St. Joe. The only problem we're going to have, we want to be able to close the gap. We have a young lady coming that's going to talk about finance, but we don't want the community to think that she's bringing a checkbook for the community. It's going to have to work through the CDC, and I think sometimes people have to understand that when you're bringing funds in, it's not for individual, it's going to be for the community development. So we ask that, we're hoping as many will come. We're going to try to send out some RVSPs in order to figure out how much food we can serve, because when they hear food, we might have some walk-ins. So we ask that you remember that date and help us out. We're going to be able to.
What was the time on that again?
11:30.
11:30, okay.
And now, following that meeting, we want to be able to take and give them a slight tour, and we want the commissioners to be on that tour so they can talk about some land spots or some, like the Sacred Heart Hospital and some of the other areas that are very important to that CDC. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. Come on, Ms. Lee. Saw that new profile.
I have two issues. My name is Letha Matthews, 312 Avenue F. I have two issues I want to address. I need street light. A person has been complaining about a street light, and she says she's been asking now for 3 years, and she have not received the street light. So who does she go to in order to get a street light?
Is this Val?
Yes, this is Val.
No, it's me. Hey, wait a second. She has been asking. I turned that over to Jim, and I think Jim's followed up through with that already. So this has already been handled.
Well, what we have, we started looking at it, Commissioner.
Right.
As a matter of fact, what we did was there was two requests that we received, one on Avenue B and one on, what street is Val live on? Broad Street.
Yeah.
Broad.
So we need to make some decisions on this thing. I had Matt look at it as well too. What you have is you have street lights already on the street, but what you gotta decide is on both Avenue B and that other location on Broad Street, you have them, there's not one directly in front of her house, but there's one on this side of it and there's one on this side. So we gotta make some decisions, gentlemen. Do we wanna have a light in front of every house?
Well, no, but can
No.
we like put something in the middle? Because I agree with you. We can't have one and
That's
we
what we
can't
gotta-
afford it.
That's what we gotta
Uh,
decide.
I'll get with Val. Did you get her address though exactly?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we have the address.
All right, but let Val do know, because I know she's hit me up and some of the other guys every time I see her,
Right.
that we are working on it. She hadn't
Okay.
been forgotten.
Okay, and the other issue is the completion of the sidewalk on Avenue D.
Where we at?
It's middle ways before you get to Martin Luther King Street. It's between Miss Bird, the Church of God in Christ, and Martin Luther King Way. So it's been that way for at least a month and a half. I just want to know, are we going to finish working on it? It's going to be completed? Because
John?
it stopped raining.
Yes,
That's a
we
question
are.
It stopped
Miss
raining.
Lisa just hit it. The rain put us behind, we're in that last quarter of the section, that needs to be done. We did have to pull off because if we were to have formed that, we would have displaced at least 2 or 3 residents from being able to park, and access their house. So we decided with the rain not to do that. As this has evolved into a lot of other projects coming to fruition, we've been juggling. I mean, that's the bottom line. So we've got the high school lift station to complete. We have a playground to build. We have sidewalks to still install. We still have sewer lines to run. So everything's just been juggled. That's
Pine
exactly-
straw to put out.
That's exactly where we're at.
But, John, let me ask
So
you
the
this.
sidewalk is important, and we want to finish that. We don't need a lot of time, and that's something we're keeping in mind, Ms. Letha. So as soon as we can fit that in, we plan on getting that off our plate.
John, let me ask you a question. Is there any of these jobs that have been started and not completed that we already, because I know the playground stuff's in the middle of, and I know that's important out there on that, the lift station.
We've got.
But what I want to say is if Bill Kennedy calls you or anybody calls you a special event,
Yeah, I forgot about the sign. We built that.
no, we're gonna finish that sidewalk. It took me 5 years and that was not your fault. It looks good. But we're not pulling off for other special event stuff to go do it. And I'm telling you that to help you, not to be ugly to you.
Well, which is exactly.
Because that's what happens is you get pulled and stretched thin.
Once we get this high school lift station in the ground, again, it'll be juggled between finishing that sidewalk, most likely will be our next move, falling back to the playground, and then we'll fall everywhere else as it goes.
Thank you. And I didn't mean that.
Those 2 items are definitely next after this lift station.
Okay, thank you.
Well, the rains are coming this
Yes,
weekend.
ma'am, we're gonna have them Thursday and Friday. I'm going to Daytona to get away from it.
I know what I'm gonna do, Mayor. I'm gonna do my best in the next 30 days is not call John for anything unless it's an absolute emergency.
All right.
Miss Charlotte, will you put that in the minutes?
Let him do.
I try not to do
Let
that
him
anymore.
do his plate is full.
I
And
agree.
so that's just me.
We're just doing the best we can. I want everyone to know that we haven't forgotten things.
Yeah.
It's been a juggling act. It's that way every day, every week.
I know.
That's what
Thank
I
you for,
but
yeah, I do.
I'm not gonna bother you.
Just a correction, the meeting will be at the Wellness Center, that's on Highway 98 and Avenue B, 11:30. Also, one of the other citizens asked me to remind the city that we have a park. It's right down the corner of Avenue B and Martin Luther King. It's been there over a year. At the Miss Tisha Bell place. And we need to get someone out there and investigate that because it's been there too long. Support a lot. And one spot there.
We get Richie on that one.
I think I've heard Richie already talk about that.
Okay.
All right.
I think he
Anyone
talked about
else?
that property.
Come on up. State your name and your address for the record.
Tim Hightower, 1032 McClellan Avenue. I've got a couple of things. I've already spoke to you about one of them. I'm waiting on those answers. But I got a $25 bill that keeps popping up from code enforcement on my water bill. We've called recently down to City Hall to try to find out, and they said code enforcement put it on there. We requested documentation and was told we don't keep that. How do you get a civil forfeiture put on your water bill and there's no documents?
Question.
So I got a problem. My water bill's coming up due. I still haven't heard back, and I'm still getting these $25 bills. So I started watching them, and that's when I called it. Started out with it was said there was a July 3rd pickup. Wasn't nothing out there besides my truck on July 3rd, and I still have it, so they didn't pick it up. I've got cameras on the front of my house. I can show there was nothing there if necessary. But, you know, this is becoming a problem with me with code enforcement. I know we need it, but we should be documenting what we're doing.
I mean, I thought he had
He
everything.
has
Yeah,
a
but
paper he
he's supposed to
fills
take-
out every time he has a pickup.
And he takes pictures, supposed to.
Well, I don't have anything for that, and I've called and requested, and I was told at City Hall, they don't keep that documentation. He does, and he's never available.
I think he'd actually looked into this one, Mr. Hightower. The only thing he could find the record on that he had done at your property was over a year ago. There was a $25 debris pickup on there. I think the question was whether somebody had called and requested a special pickup or not a code enforcement.
The only
issue
pickups
on
we've,
that.
we've all, the only pickups we've called and requested, we've already, we call it, we document it, and when they pick it up, we keep up with it and see when it hits the bill. This is something, another $25 completely out of nowhere.
Okay, we'll take a look at it, but he did look, and he didn't have anything in code enforcement for over a year. But I think he was actually, I think it was last week, he was trying to get a hold of Ms. Janice to find out if there had been a call on it or not.
Well, we had one the month before, which we'd already paid.
We'll check it out
If
for
there's no documentation that we can find by Friday on this, I'll make a motion if I can get a second to remove this from his bill.
I'll go ahead, I'll second it, if you wanna go ahead and get it.
I'll make a
removed.
motion to remove it from his bill. Matter of fact, just go ahead and remove it immediately.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion by Commissioner Thursby, a second by Commissioner Lowry.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. All right, anyone else from the audience? Anyone else? All right, Mr. Thursby, we'll start with you.
Yeah, the only thing I do have tonight is speaking of code enforcement, Duke Energy hires these people to come in town and cut trees all over St. Joe. Does Richie work tomorrow?
Yes, sir, I believe you should be here.
I would like for him to write them up, the company that was in town, and send them a letter, tell them they are in violation by leaving their crap all over our town.
The guy actually had came to town I guess it was probably 2 weeks ago. I took him out and I showed him personally, Commissioner.
If
exactly
it's
which
not
one
picked
was
up, it's
what, so-
been long enough, write him up, same as anybody else, 'cause if it was one of our individuals that have left the mess out there, they'd be like Tim Hightower out there, get the ticket. Write them up. I don't care.
It's not the first time either.
No, it's bad all over town, Rex. That's all I got.
That's it.
That's it.
Commissioner Lowry,
I'm good.
don't have anything. Commissioner
Nothing
Brazil.
One thing or two things, matter of fact, Susie White Goodson passed away this morning after a long battle with cancer. Ms. Velma Pippin passed away, who is Larry McClammer's mother-in-law. And just condolences to their families and their loss.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A couple of things I have. One thing I want to address is the old hospital lots. Not only do they have all that tree debris, but they're not even cutting the grass. I mean, we need to slap these people right
Yeah,
quick.
man. I've seen the notices, so
I
those
read
people
about
have
it
to-
today, you know, just to check on the wood stuff.
I've
and I
seen
saw the
it
grass
too.
is that high on every lot, just pretty much.
I think the guy with the debris, Dr. Harbin, he's keeping his lot mowed, but he's not doing anything
Right,
about it.
that was the only lot I saw
think
mowed.
him- Hadn't you talked to him about that, or he talked?
He'd
to you?
actually, I believe he'd come, his wife, I think
Yeah.
had come out to the shop.
Yeah, she actually, I spoke to her on several
what-
different
what-
occasions.
what
She-
transpired?
Well, our last conversations, Commissioner, was that the gentleman that she hired from, I think it was Bluntstown, was to come back and remove that debris. And I explained to her it's just such a large quantity, it's just something we don't do. That's what the contractor who cuts the trees should
Right.
do. So she understood that and was supposed to have that same contractor remove it. So I talked to her
And I
after
believe
the
I've seen the
weekend.
notice where they've been written up too. There's been numerous write-ups in the last couple of days, and I believe that was some of
Some
them
of the
too.
other lots, you're right, are not.
And I can tell you, that's been there for.
It has. I thought Rex would be all over that.
Front door.
And, just check on the CDBG grant for the water. The bids have already gone out or they're about to go out?
Yes,
What's the
it
material?
has been, it has out to the newspaper, so it closes, I think, the 28th, 31st. So
Okay.
we'll bring it back to you the first of next month.
All right, next thing is, gazebo. Are they through with this yet?
They're not complete with it yet, and I was out of town yesterday.
Right.
So I know last week, Jim and I both had several conversations with Bo Creel, so I'm just not sure where he's at this week.
I just had a couple of people ask me where we
It's
were
not
with it.
complete.
It's not complete.
Okay. maybe one more thing here.
Gazebo, you talking about the pier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Out there, yeah. On code enforcement, you know, I know we go around a lot and we write up a lot of yards for grass growing. But my question is rental housing around town. Do we have the authority to go do a code inspection on some of these rental houses? I mean, some of them are pretty bad. If you went in and did a code inspection, I guarantee you find a lot of, they're doing the same thing over in Panama. But they find a lot of code violations. People living without electricity, people living without heat, bad wiring. Is that something our code inspector should do from time to time?
Generally not, once you get beyond the front door, normally not, Mayor. I'll have to defer to legal on that, but normally what we do as far as code enforcement is what you can see from the road itself.
On the road?
Yes.
Well, we saw one that looked in pretty bad shape, but we kind of write it up and get a little more investigation instead of the roadside if we think it's about to fall down.
Yeah,
We got people living in houses about to fall down, believe it or not.
And normally what we do is if a house becomes inhabitable, that's where you send it out to your building inspector to take a look at it to see if there's a problem there with the house is inhabitable on there, but.
Okay. I was just curious about that because I know Panama's doing something. I've been over talking with Springfield and talking with Callaway city managers, you know, about code enforcement and what all they're doing. And so I just wanted to check and see if that was something we might could do or not could do. That's all I got. I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
So moved. All right.